Hello friends! Now some of you might be wondering, how do I play this game? How do I play Mr. Swank? Will my kids like it? How long does it take to play? Who's this made for? Well, the answer is yes to all those questions, and get ready because I'm about to tell you how to play this game. This game is great for anyone over probably 7 years old. It's a pretty simple game to play. It's pretty fast. It ranges in time just depending how many people stop the game from ending. It could last maybe about half an hour long. It's 2 to 5 players, and it is a fun, easy party game, but not void of personality and character. This is the setup for the game. Here in the middle you have all your deck of cards. You put your character cards out in front of you, that would be the opponent, and you deal out 5 cards to each player. So I'm going to turn these around so you can see them. Over here we have the score card. Just take a piece of paper and write down your name and your friend's name and however many people are playing, and start at 0 points each. Here I have the accessories just for easy access, but you can just put them off to the side until you need them. If you get an accessory, you play it just here beside your character and then go into the pile here and add it to your character so that you look real swanky. The teal cards will either be a de-swank card or a swankify card. De-swank means that you are taking points away from an associate. Swankify means you're giving points to yourself. So when you play these cards, you will mark it down here. Say de-swank, this one asks to roll for damage. So I'd play this, then I would roll the dice. I got 4 points, so I would choose the associate of my choice to take 4 points away from. The Swankify card, I will play that on myself, and I will add 5 points to me. The green cards are special cards. So each one will tell you what they do at the bottom. They do different things from... So here's gasp ban. You must gasp loudly, then while your associate is distracted, grab a card from their hand. So that's self-explanatory. Impress your associates with how incredibly ripped you are. They each give you 3 of their points. So that means you take 3 points away from everybody else and add all those points to your own score. He's a really good card. Accessory cards. Accessory cards are pink, and it costs 2 points to play them to yourself. When you get them, you will take the corresponding piece and add them to your card so that you look really swanky, and each of them has a special ability. This one is, if any associate picks up or wins multiple cards, they must share one with you. So if somebody wins in a battle, then they would share one of their cards with you, or if they pick it up for another reason, but it has to be more than 1 card, they have to share one. You have to remember to get people to do this, though. If you forget, you cannot go back and make people give you cards. This one is a golden ticket. Once per round, you may look at an associate's hand. So you cannot take anything from their hand, you can just look at them so you know what they have. Now, when you flip over a battle card, you have to put it down immediately and shout, "Battle card!" Then you choose somebody that you want to battle with you. So if there's only 2 players, obviously, you choose the other player. If there's more than 2 players, you get your choice of who you want to battle. The winner of this battle gets to keep all the cards. So you probably want to choose somebody who maybe isn't winning the game, or someone who has a lot of cards so they have to discard. So you'd grab a card, put it here, other player would grab a card, then you would peek and see if it has a number right at the top here. If it doesn't, if it's an instant card, so if you pick up this, a card like this, it will just go into the loot pile, which will be taken at the end of the round. So this is my card, it's covered up. You go 1, 2, 3, flip. Unfortunately, the other player has a higher number on their card, so they get to take both these cards and whatever is in the loot pile. And they get all of those. But they, at the end of their turn, they have to discard until they have 7 in their hand. If it is not their turn, when they pick it up, they don't have to discard until the end of their turn. Say you flip the cards and you both have the same number. Then what you do is you just pick up more and those get added to the loot pile and you do it all over again. If you pick up another battle card while battling, you get to choose somebody else to join you in the battle. If there's only 2 players, this doesn't matter, just put the card to the side. But if there is more players than you have playing the battle at the moment, they will join your battle and whoever the winner is gets all the cards. Instant cards are orange, and you can play these anytime you want. You can play them on your turn or your associate's turn, anytime, as long as the card allows you to play it. So, a new card can be played on top of any card that's just been played. If somebody plays a card for themselves to give themselves points, you can play a new card and stop the action. If they play a card against you, you can play a new card and stop the action. You can play as many new cards on top of new cards as you like, and whoever has the end new card will win that battle. The card that you play the new card on will get discarded immediately and none of the effects will work. Swipey McSwipes allows you to pick up a card somebody has just played. If they play a card down on the board, they still get to use the ability, but you get to play this and then take this card and put it in your hand. Trashy McTrashbags allows you to throw away an opponent's accessory. They must have an accessory in front of them next to their character, and that you may use this card to get rid of at any time. There are 3 reroll cards. They all do the same thing. If you roll the dice and you want to change your roll, you may play this card and try again. If somebody else rolls the dice and you do not like what their outcome is, you may play that card for them to re-roll. This does not allow you to roll again and add up the points. The false alarm card is a little bit different. You can only play this on Mr. Swank in order to make him not show up so fast. Now let's go over the turn overview. So when it's your turn, first you pick up a card. Let's add, oh, nice. Add it to your hand. Then you're going to take the dice, or the die, and roll. I got 2 points. So now I can look into my hand and see which card I would like to play for 2 points. I could play my accessory. I could play Butterfly Kitty. I could play this other accessory, and that's it. So I think right now I'm going to play this accessory, take the corresponding piece, and add it to my character. Then the other player would go, they would do the same thing. They would pick up a card, add it to their hand, and then decide what they could play with these points. You cannot save up these points and use them next round, but say I got a 5, I could look in my hand and play this as well as this, because that adds up to 5 points. So let's say I do that. I play Butterfly Kitty, so that gives me 3 points, so I'm going to add that over here. 3. And then I'm going to play Mr. Entertainer against my associate. So when I play a D-Swank card, I get to choose which character or which associate I take points away from. So since there's only 2 players, I'm going to take it away from Mr. Silly. So 5, 3. At the end of your turn, look in your hand and see if you have more than 7 cards. So here I have 8 cards. I would have to discard one. However, I could get rid of some of my instant cards because I can play these whenever I want. You can play these on your turn or an associate's turn. So let's see. So if I use the Swipey McSwipes card, I could play this and swipe the top of the pile and add it to mine. However, then I still have more cards than I should. So I would still have to discard. So let's say I discard this one. And all the cards you play and the cards that are discarded just go directly into the discard pile right here. You will go back and forth playing this game, writing down the points. It doesn't matter how low your point score goes or how high. The only point of this is to know who has the most points when Mr. Swank comes. When you flip over Mr. Swank, that means whoever has the most points here wins the game, unless you have a false alarm card. So if you are not winning, but you have this in your hand, you may play that on top of Mr. Swank to get him to shuffle back into the deck. You do not shuffle the rest of the discard piles into the deck, just Mr. Swank. That way, if you only have a few cards left at the end, there's a higher % chance that he will come back pretty fast. On the false alarm card, you can play a new card to stop the action so that Mr. Swank stays. If you have another new card, you can play the new on top of the new as many times as you want, and the end new will win that battle. You cannot play a new card on Mr. Swank, only a false alarm card. If he gets shuffled back into the deck, you just pick it up, shuffle it together, put it back, and carry on with your game as if he was never there. Okay, so here are some potentially confusing cards in the game I thought I would just go over in case you have any questions. So, Tiny Businessman. Sue any associate for all they're worth. Roll to swap overall points. Highest roll wins. So, you will choose whoever you want to swap overall points with. That means on this piece of... That means on this piece of paper, you get to choose and swap the end points. Because this can be a very good card, whoever you choose, you roll the dice. I got a 1, they got a 2. So that would mean that this didn't work, just goes in the discard pile. But if it does, then you'd swap your overall points. Greedy little leprechaun. Steal all the things. Take an accessory from an associate. The person has to have an accessory in front of their character in order for you to do this. You cannot go into their hand. Coffee screams. Get an energy boost. Roll the die for extra action points. So, say I first got, say I got a 3. I can use 2 of those points to play this card, and then I can roll again. I got another 3, so that would mean in total I now have 4 points. So whatever points you have left over, this adds to it. But you do have to spend the 2 points in order to play this. No face guy, terrify your associate, or just really creep them out. They hide in a hole during their next turn. So you play this on somebody else and they lose their next turn. Muscles on muscles. Impress your associates with how incredibly ripped you are. They each give you 3 of their points. So this is a very good card, especially if you have many people playing the game. Each person will get 3 points taken away from them, and you will get all of those points added to your score. So if you had 3 people playing the game, you would take 3 points from your 2 associates and get 6 points yourself. Spicy Kimchi Man. Target your spiciest associate and roll to see how much spice they can handle. So you'd roll the dice. Got a 1, so you'd only de-swank 1 from whoever you were taking it from. Fart Acorn Fairy. So this card you can only play if you roll a 1. If you have more than, say you roll a 3, you cannot play this card. Wrestle the Brestle. This one's a little bit confusing, but when you play this, you play it on the person next to you, or Wrestle the Brestle. Nobody likes Wrestle the Brestle. Take 1 damage and pass him along. So what you do is you take 1 damage to yourself, and then you pass him to your left. And then the next person, when it's their turn, they take -1. Next person takes -1. The next person takes -1. And it keeps going until somebody gets a battle card. And once the battle is drawn, then he goes in the discard pile. Now these 2, if you use them together, so say you rolled a 4, 5, or 6, you could play these both in the same turn, and that means that you would get 8 points here and 4 points here.